No, I didn't forget about this game. It's just the 6th anniversary for Dragon Ball Legends was providing me with far more content than Isekai Memories still is. But with the new Rimuru coming out, the end of the Determination to Prosper meta, a meta that I haven't even acknowledged at all in any way since I ended my Primal Demon Scourge. This Rimuru actually seems pretty interesting though, so I want to try and predict what his future attack prediction gimmick is going to be. I just watched Joker's video. He thinks that it might end up being like the Hero's Rewind or something similar to it. I don't. I actually think that it'll be a counter, and not like the counter attack state that already exists in the game. I mean, if Rimuru, you use the skill, and if Rimuru is hit, or maybe he applies it to the entire team, and if anyone is hit, then an animation will play out where Rimuru sees the attack coming, dodges it, right? He negates the damage, but then counterattacks, thus dealing damage back. Because right now, there are skills in the game that allow you to negate damage, the Idolmaster Invincibility, and technically Luminous is revived with 100%, because if you revive with 100%, there are times where you're going to end up with more health than you started with, even if you die, so it's basically invincibility. And then you have things like the Vengeance team that can pretty much defensively buff themselves into taking 1 HP worth of damage, but none of those skills actively counterattack. They don't attack. They don't do anything back. So I think it would be very interesting if this future attack prediction Rimuru had a skill where he predicted a future attack and countered. It would be the first true counter skill in the entire game's history, almost 3 years in, and it might make him worth using. It really depends on how it goes. If it's a personal buff that only lasts for 1 turn, then maybe it won't be that useful, but if he applies it to the entire team and it lasts multiple turns, then he might be a must-have for any defensive team. Speaking of the Luminous that we got, I actually think Luminous is a really useful unit for defensively oriented teams, but in a very niche setting. So like, let's say you wanted to put a healer on your Vengeance team. Well, you could put Luminous on there, and for 3 turns, your team literally can't die. But it'd be a very niche situation where a team like the Vengeance team or the Idolmaster team would actually need you to do that. There are cases where it would be helpful, just not regularly necessary. But when it comes to this future attack prediction thing, if it's a true counter, you could, gaslight yourself into believing that you need it pretty easily. That's the problem with the revive. The problem with the revive is you actively have to gaslight yourself into believing that it's useful. Whereas with the future attack prediction, while you kind of still have to, it'd be a lot easier to. Because at least then you can still do some damage. And I actually kind of like the Determination to Prosper team in concept. I don't like how it was handled, but in concept I actually kind of like it. Because one of the biggest problems with both the Idolmaster team and the Vengeance team is they're pretty hyper-focused on one thing. The Idolmaster team, all of the battle units are offensive. So if you don't have the Protector Rimuru, the Idolmaster Rimuru, this defensive team no longer has any defense because he's the only one that gives you the invincibility or any form of defensive buff. Whereas with Vengeance, Velzard doesn't contribute to your defense at all. It's the battle units. But the team also doesn't have any attack buffs. I mean, Shuna and Veldora do, but they're not doing any damage on the team, and realistically, you're not even going to run Shuna or Veldora unless you are just really desperate for as many Vengeance stacks as possible. But in situations where you don't need 75 stacks of Vengeance in order to win, on average, you're not going to have any offensive buffs on the team, so Vengeance is your only way of dealing any damage. Whereas the Determination to Prosper team has both offense and defense from both the Protector and the battle units. You have your defense with Luminous, you have offense with Amnesia, and you have both offense and defense with the guard and super guard, as well as weakness strike for Mariabelle, and I expect Rimuru to be primarily offense. And it would be nice if the future attack prediction was a counter, because then he would be the first person, or the first unit, to ever have a defensive buff that was also an offensive ability. You guys can let me know what you think about that. Would you summon, would you be more willing to summon for Rimuru if he had a genuine counter? And if so, what would that counter need to be? Would it need to be a one-turn thing that applies to just himself for you to summon? Or would it need to be something better, like a full team 2 to 3 turns? Let me know what you guys would want from that. I think the idea of this is interesting, and I'm going to feel real stupid when he comes out and he doesn't have anything that relates to future attack prediction. Because, let's be honest here, the little titles they put on these banners don't really mean much. So when he comes out, like tomorrow or whatever, 2 days from now, and he's just got 2 attack buffing skills, and he's got nothing to do with any form of future attack prediction, yeah, we're all going to look pretty stupid, but hey, if I'm right, I will never let y'all live that down. 6 months from now, I'm going to be like, hey, remember when I predicted the future attack prediction? Let's go. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think of Rimuru before we even see his kit. I'm hoping we see some good things. Yeah, that's about it. See ya. Did I just pull a fucking voice critical?